Morning, y'all. Kate's Garden. Kate's Garden Chicken Cat Rambles. A little after 7 a.m. on East Coast time. Got Laddie. We got Chaos. I got Nomad here. She's doing her I'm cute, look at me, I want your attention, just don't touch me thing. So it's a beautiful morning. I think we've been getting down into the 50s and I also believe the low 60s overnight. I left my rooster protection hole over by the chicken coop. That doesn't do me too good out here. I'm just keeping an eye on him. I'm coming over to water. Yeah, don't make me get a little branch. Don't make me, break off a switch. Not that I hit him with it, but it does deter him. That's what I'm doing here. This is, part of a tree growing here alongside the house. You can hardly see the house. So I'm coming to water because we are on like a 8-9 day stretch. We're supposed to have not have any rain, and we haven't had any in days. Need to back off, mister. So these grow wild, and I think they are in the morning glory family. They may actually just be morning glories, but they're growing wild from this little vine right here, and all this wild stuff that's not been trimmed or cut back in a long time. And then all this with these little white bumps here, all these little white pods will bloom out. They look like a jasmine, but I forget the name of them. It's a vine. It's very common here. They don't have a lot of scent, but they're very beautiful. So here, of course, is Nomad following me around, kind of doing what Chaos used to always do. So we're coming out to water, and I just wanted to mention to you all that if you saw there's Chaos, my little short video from the swing. Yes, this fall I will be going back to Oklahoma. My sister is saving me, my oldest sister. Her name is Paula, and she made me an offer I can't refuse, and my family is going to help come and get me. And it's a baby step. It's a first step that I really needed to make, and that it was hard to make. I know what I know what I need to do to start over and how to do it. But when you're kind of a prisoner, I had no way to make that first step on my own, which is sad, but it's just the reality of things. And there's so much I'm going to miss here, not so much the place or like the state, or I'm going to miss my sweet neighbors next door on both sides, and I'll miss the old Paul that used to be a big part of my life. I'll miss volunteer pumpkins, though. They should all be harvestable by the time I leave, and I don't think it'll be till mid-late October. It's really up to my family, because they're rescuing me on their dime, and so it will. Is that frost or mold? That's weird looking. It looks like frost, but I know we didn't get down that cold. Weirdness. So anyhow, morning blooms. Everything's loving to bloom, being bloomed in the morning. About an hour ago, which was, about half hour ago, about 6:20 is when sunrise is now. So I always wait till sunrise to come let the chickens out, just because we still have the young ones, and they run out all willy-nilly and do go out from under the hawk net, but if I don't, the roosters, they will crow you out of bed. Oh my God, did y'all hear that? That was the first little crow, and I think it came from Drago. Could be Delilah. One of those two. Maybe we'll catch them in their first little crow. I hope it's not Delilah. It's Drago. It's his first little crow. Oh my goodness, that's so cute. Hi, Drago. I always knew you were a dude. And I would think that if Delilah was also a cockerel and she's the exact same age, I think she would be doing it too. And she hasn't, so yes, she's a girl. 3 pullets, which that makes me happy, but I need to get back in contact with my former neighbors who, oh, every time she sticks her head up, I'm like freezing to see if she's going to crow back. Okay. So every morning the 4 o'clocks are bloomed. And I learned recently from a friend here that they reseed themselves. So that makes me really sad that I won't be here for them, but I'm definitely going to replant them wherever I go. I'm hoping. See, Dee there, Delilah, she's got a pretty good sized comb on her. But so did the other silver lace Wyandotte at that age. So I'm going to make sure that everyone who wants these birds still wants them. I'm pretty sure they do. Paul wants me to leave some birds because I can't take this big coop. We haven't really talked my leaving. He knows I plan on leaving, and he doesn't really give a shit about the details. But I'll share an apartment with my older sister. She's in her late 60s. Well, she's 66, so she's in her mid 60s, really. And that's where I will start out and begin anew. And we know what I want for my future dream. And if I'm able to, within hopefully only a year, maybe a couple of years, find a place, maybe through the tribe and in Choctaw land, I can get assistance in building a small home or tiny home. And if she wants, she can always come and join me. But yeah, I'm sure there will be challenges and it'll be something new, but I think it's going to work out fine. I am going to be taking some of my things, all my personal things. I don't have a lot, but maybe probably enough to fill up those Ford Econoline. They look like a passenger van, but they don't have any seats in them. They're really just for cargo. Hopefully that's something that they can rent. They'll figure it out. Whatever they decide and figure out, I will do. So anyway, I really do think if Delilah there with the darkest neck feathers and the nice, beautiful red comb was a dude, she would have been joining the Drago and crowing. She may still prove me wrong, but so I came up this morning, made sure all their feed bowls were filled, and now they're drinking, and I've got to water the garden, like I said. But it's sad because I'm only going to be able to take my oldest 2 cats. I may take this just so that when we stop, I can put them in it outside. Or so maybe they can get out of the actual pet carriers and have more room if I'm in a van or something that has the space. But that does collapse down small. Um, I will really miss this guy. He is 3 going on 4. I don't, but even in his careless, doesn't really take care of them way, I think Paul would take care of him, and I know Paul loves him. And he tolerates Paul. He's only flogged him a couple times, so the roosters may have to stay here. I need to talk more with the lady who's going to take the hens. And they're very sweet people, and they love the chickens. And if you're watching this, oh, y'all let me know. But I'll send you a message soon. So I am going to not plant a fall garden. Uh, my sweet friend Rose, has said we've chatted about it, and I'm going to keep my channel name and on my travels, and I'm going to, until I have my own garden and chickens again, I will film other people's gardens and chickens. And I have cousins who um, have poultry and live in the country in little small farms. So we'll uh, we'll explore the flora and fauna of Oklahoma. I mean, I grew up with it, but I've never shared any of that with you. Oh, look, another little wee pumpkin. So lots of flowers first thing in the morning on the pumpkins, and I just don't know what that is. I don't want to touch it because if it's a weird mold. I always have a little bit of a mold allergies. Oops, but it's not rinsing off like it's frost. I don't know what it is, but I would say probably have a half, maybe between a half dozen and a dozen little baby pumpkins. Um, and if they're all harvestable, I'll just put them in a little box and take them with me, or I'll send them with the chickens to eat. But they're more the decorative type pumpkins, of course. So I'm still getting a few cucumbers. I've got one little one, well, not really quite so little. I don't know if you can. So I'm still watering the cherry tomatoes. I'm not getting a lot of them for me to eat, but I've been feeding them to flower. So right there, forget inside there, you can hardly see it. There's one last cucumber that I know of on that section of this plant that's come to live with the tomatoes. But as you can tell, which I showed the other day, it's full of blooms. So depending on how warm our September is, and I don't know, I guess just depending, we'll see how it does. So I've still got some sunflowers, so those are quite leaning. And one that fell over and I thought was sure was going to die was this one here that's bent. You can see where it's bent, but it's still looking beautiful. It's still green. Its flowers are still um, looking healthy. With another one, so I'm going to enjoy them while I can, but I'm not going to bust my ass cleaning all this out. I mean, to put a fall garden in and then to leave right at harvest time would just be a waste. And all my seeds are safe to travel, and what I do have will grow out there. And as I've said, I'll garden in pots if I have to. If I just really start jonesing next spring, I'm sure my nephew, who also lives in Edmond close by, would let me have a little garden plot in the back of his yard, maybe. But you know me, I when I garden, I want to be living with my garden. I want to be able to go out and mess with it, or pick from it, monitor it every day. Not that my monitoring does anything, but watch it grow. But hey, that's just how I am. So, giving everything a drink this morning, though everything out here is wet. My feet are already cold. Well, it's cold and wet ground. My feet don't really get cold. I don't get cold very often. I'm so warm natured, but ooh, you just saw a little flower fall on its own. But yeah, the petunias are about spent. I've decided I will, once I pull all the flowers out of here, or whether I pull them out or not, I will take each section of my green stalk and dump it into one of the dust bathing spots in the chicken coop. So the roos still, the roos or whichever birds have to stay here with Paul will at least have some more dust bathing material because it's all this organic garden soil. There's nothing in it that can harm them. And like I said, maybe when I'm not here and Paul has to take care of it, things and creatures, he'll step up to the plate. I mean, he had cats before I came. He's not the same person as he was then, but surely, he still, has compassion for animals in his own kind of selfish, warped way. But, I can't worry about it all. One of my cousins mentioned it, and it's true. The hardest part is leaving all the things I built and worked on and put lots of effort and love into. You know, leaving a place isn't so hard. It's just leaving what you have to leave behind. But I'll persevere. I'll be fine. I come from sturdy stock. But yeah, I will dump the green stock, clean it out, stack it back up. I still have its box. Even without its box, I can, once it's all stacked together, it's not that heavy and it's easy to transport. Depending on space, if I have space, I'll take my nice, expensive colored galvanized tomato cages because even if I'm gardening in pots, I'll need stuff for things to climb. We shall see. Of course, I'll take my wind chimes and a few other things that I've had for a long time and that mean something to me, even if they're stored away till they hang at a new place. I will take my lucky horseshoe that was sent to me that belonged to Queen Unique, a Frisian horse that I followed and came to love, and who sadly died this spring. But let's take a look at Laddie's corn. It's getting ready to make tassels on top. Your corn garden looks really good there, mister. He's like, thank you, Mom. I'm following in your footsteps. I'm gardening. Unintentional gardening. His volunteer mini cornfield. So as I'm out here watering, there's Chaos just sitting out here watching. Nomad too. I mean, not together, but still kind of together. So yeah, it was a big decision to accept the offer. But it wasn't hard. No one's been so generous and offered to help me like that. And my sister, she feels it's kind of her duty she's very maternal, sisterly love and motherly love. And she had a big hand in raising me when I was young. And, she was there for my very first steps. And now she's here for the next steps, even if I'm a 55-year-old. She feels like a toddler some days, but I had, and I decided, better sooner than later, better before everything falls apart here. It's easier to pack up and move if you're not homeless. And if I hope and pray Paul gets his finances straightened out and doesn't lose his truck in his house, but I don't think he really cares either way. But, it'll work out. But yeah, and along, our travels, if we pass a farm and I see a bunch of cool looking chickens or garden, I'll get my sister to pull over and I'll make a quick little 3-minute snippet of of the gardens that we see as we cross the country in October. The colors should be beautiful, depending on what, well, they'll be beautiful. There's three main ways to go from the east to the west. There's the what I call the northern route, which is kind of the northern route, goes through Pennsylvania, um, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and then into Oklahoma. There's the normal way most people go back and forth across the state, which is the I-40 corridor, which goes right across the middle and goes through North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas. Tennessee is like forever to get across. And that is a main trucking route. I think probably the most prevalent route from east to west because it crosses from one side of the country to the other. But there's always construction in places like Arkansas and other places and along it. A lot of times the fake construction is just there to get people to slow down, whereas a traffic control or ticketing. And then there's the southern route, which I've taken all three routes back and forth to Oklahoma and back before, which is the I-20 down through the south, Georgia. You take 95 from 95 that runs down the east coast, that corridor. You can get onto any of those main interstate structures across the country. But there's no reason to go that far south. We're not going to Texas. We're not going to end up in Texas. But I think we're kind of thinking about taking the northern route. It'll be so beautiful, the colors, the fall colors, going through Pennsylvania and the mountains. So it'll be a nice little road trip, and gab fest for her and I. We've been doing a lot of texting, which I'm not huge on doing lots of long texting. I kind of forgot about how bad the arthritis in my right hand was. And the other day, I went to grab a tuft of grass and to grip it hard and pull it out for a weed, and the pain was made me suck in my breath. And so texting, holding my hands in a certain way. And I'm sorry, I'm old. I text with one finger. I am not use my thumbs, you know. And so my hand's been really sore. I try to do as much of typing as I can on the laptop. It's much easier and gentler, but in the evenings, laying in the bed and piled with cats, it's not always easy to get to the laptop. So we've been chatting about a lot of stuff and, talking about a lot of things. And I think I've not lived amongst any of my family for over 30 years. So it's also kind of a re-getting to know me as an adult. I mean, my sister's 11 years older than me. They've always been older. So, most of my life, they've always been adults. But, since I was 19, I haven't been around. So I'm not the same person I was 30 years ago. I'm not the same child she helped raise. I've lived a lot of life, got a lot of scars, and gained a lot of wisdom and introspection, and learned a lot about myself and behaviors that disturbed me and maybe was annoying to others. Turned out to be a lifelong battle with social anxiety. But I grew up in a generation where you just didn't have social anxiety. I'm naturally inclined to be an introvert. But in my mother's house, if you were quiet and didn't talk and come join the group, then, she got onto you. You were being unsocial and rude. And I used to find myself just talking like, when you hear someone who just talks to hear themselves talk. But it was just my anxiety and nervous anxiety and It's just how it manifested. And now, I'm just not that person anymore. I'm a watcher and a thinker, a listener. I observe. I pick up a lot of stuff. But anyhow, look at my wildflowers still going. So these look a lot brighter pink than they are. I think it's this morning light because they are actually a very pale lavender. I've still got the magenta with the yellow centers. Still part of the Cosmo family. The giant Cosmo that's leaning on the hawk net still has not made any little bloom heads. I have a feeling it's not going to. I think it would by now even be showing small ones like this, that are coming off the main stalk. So the marigolds have survived. Many of them got knocked over with Tropical Storm Debbie Downer. But yeah, so everything's getting a good drink. Everybody out here is getting their little feet wet. Some of the older girls are staying in. They're like, yeah, we don't want to get our feet wet. But the oldest of these birds now are 4, approaching 4. Yeah, this is their 4th summer. And I just can't get over how fast these little ones have grown. They seem to me to have grown so much faster than the hens, the chicks that I bought and raised. But of course, they've been living a natural, eating lots of bugs and crickets and doing a lot of mama taught chicken stuff. But yeah, it's a relief not to hear Delilah crow. And I have a feeling those 3, at least, probably Delilah, maybe not Delilah. I know for sure that whoever gets them are going to get colored eggs. For sure out of Violet. But they're all part Easter eggers, so it's going to just depend. They may not get the really blue-green eggs, but they may end up getting like pink eggs or mint color green eggs. But they're just all getting so big. So I may end up taking a small little rabbit hutch there because I can collapse it, take it apart, just as a little kitty cubby, because I'm sure the cats I take will be very nervous and skittish at first. They've never met other people. Literally, they've never met other people other than Paul and I. So that will be a foreign place, foreign smells. They'll have no other animal smells, but I think once they realize that it's safe and it's just double the snuggles and double the loving, they'll eventually come out. So I'm going to take Pandora, who is Chaos's sister litter mate, and I'm going to take Lotto, BK. He's a year younger. He's 13. Pandora's 14. They're just the older ones that I think are going to end up at some point needing more care and attention. I mean, I'd love to be able to. I told her I would only bring the 2 older ones. And I'd love to bring Romeo too, just because he's such a loner. But he's young, and I think he'll be fine. But like the mini half barrel, a few of my planters that I will definitely be able to use. I'll take with me as long as I've got room. I'm just walking around dragging this water hose around like a crazy woman. I give the corn to drink. It's weird watering this early in the morning when everything feels and looks so wet. You're not automatically thinking, "Ooh, I gotta water that," but they do need to be watered. I don't really worry about these little ones. I have a feeling they're not going to produce anything. I'm just curious about these 2 big ones that are acting like grown-up real corn. If that makes sense. Go in there. There we go. So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. And we're approaching 30 minutes on this video of me rambling about leaving and chickens and gardens. But yeah, I'm going to keep my channel name. And I will focus on and ramble about physically and verbally about other gardens and chickens until I can have my own again. But thank you all for your support and your kindness and your love. Um, thank you for watching my videos. And I understand if many are just here for this, me here with these chickens in this garden. And if if you no longer want to follow the channel as it changes, um, I understand, and that's perfectly acceptable. But if you want to stick around, we'll be rambling about and exploring other people's gardens and chickens and cats. Um, like I said, I've mentioned to my family, they know how dear Chaos is to me, but he is an outside cat now, and at his age and his little bit of dementia and sight and hearing losses, I just don't believe he would fare well traveling and having to live in an apartment where his sister Pandora and Lotto have never ever been outside. They wouldn't even understand that they could go out and poop in grass or pee in grass. They're of an age that you can leave a door open all day and they're not going to go to it. There's a draft with you close that. I don't know if he'll still be here in a couple months. You see, he's looking pretty healthy and normal, but there is a little bit of a weakness in one hip, and he kind of doesn't walk in a straight line. Sometimes he kind of wobbles like an old man without his cane, but he uh, will most likely do like Lessie, like many outdoor cats do. He will eventually, when his time has come, as long as, he'll just go somewhere and pass away quietly, which would actually be my preference. Sounds horrible, but to have to bury him, and I've held too many pets through their last breaths and afterwards, and buried many little very much loved critters. Um, his loss like that would be devastating. His loss period would be devastating. Gosh, I'm gonna miss this boyfriend, and if need be, I'll leave. If the other roos have to stay, I mean, I can leave him. The roos altogether without hens probably would not at all fight, but we'll see. We'll see. Those decisions still have to be made of who's going to be taken and who may have to stay here. Right now, I'm just loving these little blue flowers. I sniffed one the other day and it didn't have the scent of a morning glory, but I do believe it's morning glory vine. Pretty, 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 pretty. So we're going to close out on these beautiful little blue flowers. Thank you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.